Pakistani researchers have grown minimal expense sanitizer material locally. Karachi, Pakistani researchers have privately fostered a minimal expense and compelling sanitizer material that can be utilized in injury dressings, sterile garments, veils, and many sorts of bundling. We realize that many kinds of microorganisms are causing contaminations and illnesses all over the planet. Under the management of Saadat Majid, Assistant Professor of Analytical Chemistry at Bahauddin Zakaria University, researchers have applied eco-accommodating chitosan and silver nanoparticles to a typical material that can restrain four normal however destructive sorts of microorganisms. The texture has shown to be extremely successful in all tests, and its subtleties have been distributed in the week-by-week research diary Nature, Scientific Reports. As per the subtleties, the specialists took unstitched clear material from the market and first exposed it to soluble base treatment to make appropriate spots for changing the fabric. Then exceptionally fine nanoparticles of silver and chitosan were added to the texture. It ought to be noticed that chitosan is a kind of sugar got from the external shell of crabs and shrimps and is broadly utilized in clinical examination. Along these lines, an imperceptible layer of apparel was added. Subsequent to being kept on the texture, this layer fostered its enemy of bacterial properties, and when various sorts of microbes and microorganisms go onto it, they are promptly obliterated, one more lead researcher related with the examination said. As indicated by the analyst, the fixings that were utilized to make sterile materials were harmless to the ecosystem and contained poisonous synthetic compounds, while the most common way of making fabrics is likewise pricey. In this manner, the new technique is somewhat more straightforward and more affordable. We want less expensive and more affordable materials to supplant the fabric. Chitosan is an organic substance that has strong antibacterial properties, then again it likewise has phenomenal biocompatibility and is biodegradable. Chitosan makes positive ionic charges on the fabric with the goal that it tends to be changed as wanted. Then again, silver nanoparticles have additionally come up in current exploration. These nanoparticles can be spread voluntarily and can battle microscopic organisms. Along these lines, chitosan and silver nanoparticles together give insurance against numerous destructive microorganisms. After the production of the texture, different trials were directed to know its treatment and to guarantee that the layers of the two parts could turn out to be important for the texture in a smooth way. This was then affirmed by the high-level strategies for electron microscopy and X-beam crystallography. Bacterial attack and testing on apparel. In the wake of setting up the texture, the specialists painstakingly tried various microscopic organisms, including for generally tracked down microbes. Their names incorporate Micrococcus aureus, Staphylococcus aureus, Enterobacter aerogenes, and the well-known normally, coli bacterium. These individually cause pneumonia, emergency clinic pollution, loose bowels, and different infections. Indeed, even in emergency clinics and working theaters, they lead to desperate outcomes. Assuming these microorganisms enter the injury, it can transform into a hopeless sore. To this end, a sterile gauze can be extremely useful in such manner. When contrasted with ordinary wipes in the lab, the sanitizing material was 85% more compelling at eliminating microbes and microorganisms and preventing them from spreading to different pieces of the fabric. Under similar exploration, specialists are confident that it very well may be utilized for medical clinic clothing, covers, wound dressings, and pressing materials. Be that as it may, further examinations are progressing in such manner. Dr. Saadat Majid said that this work was finished during the worldwide crown scourge in light of the fact that the import of clinical merchandise from everywhere the world was halted. In this unique circumstance, the examination group began chipping away at hostile to bacterial items at the nation level and carried out it through neighborhood advancement process. Changed sanitizer material is likewise significant with regards to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, under SDG number 3 for better well-being and prosperity and SDG number 9 for advancement in industry and artworks. The component is incorporated to make a superior and supportable future for the whole world. Then again, disinfectant material likewise meets the prerequisites of value and toughness. Regardless of whether it is washed 10 to multiple times, it doesn't lose its antibacterial properties. Quality, enduring. The main thing in the business part of anything is its strength, with the goal that it very well may be shipped off different nations while keeping up with the clean properties of the material. For this, few texture tests were found in dim and light. A piece of texture was presented to bright UVA light for a very long time, and its properties were estimated after each 2, 4, and a month and a half. This interaction was completed to test the sanitizer limit of the texture. In another trial, the texture was kept in obscurity. Accordingly, the texture actually had antibacterial properties following 12 weeks. Our examination shows that subsequent to going the texture through every one of the stages, the germicidal limit remained, yet in addition the adaptability and different boundaries of the texture were not impacted, said Tayaba Raza, one more PhD analyst who partook in the exploration. It ought to be noticed that researchers from different branches of numerous establishments were engaged with this examination, including Bahaddin Zakaria University, International Center for Chemical and Biological Sciences situated in University of Karachi, Nishtar Medical College, Government College University Faisalabad and Abbasin University Islamabad. The ground's local area is imperative. Pakistani researchers have fostered a minimal expense and compelling enemy of bacterial material at the neighborhood level, which has met every one of the tests and guidelines. Note: www.thetechytube.com and its policy do not necessarily agree with the views of this blogger.